The potential for a reversal on the Cardano charts is becoming more and more likely. COTI Treasury incoming. What is up, everyone? Welcome to Crypto Capital Venture. Hit the subscribe and like on the way in. It means a lot to me. Let's jump into the video. We're going to start with Cardano. We're going to talk about the charts. We know the downside. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but I want to talk about the potential for a reversal. I want to talk about COTI on the charts, and this all revolves around COTI Treasury incoming very, very soon. So let's start with Cardano. This is the daily chart. Let's be reminded what has happened since this high in the beginning of September. We all know it's been a crazy, crazy journey to the downside. And right now we've been exploring a lot. Continued downside. We've had targets that we've been talking about. We know the 80-cent target that we've been talking about, and we also know out of the symmetrical triangle here, the 50-cent target to the downside. We know it's in play, and this is data, right? So we talk about downside, and we also talk about upside. We talk about potential for reversal. Some might call that some hopium. If so, then this is hopium. This is not financial advice. These are different perspectives that we can anticipate for Cardano. So let's talk about it. We know the target's the downside. Let's talk about what the upside looks like. The biggest thing, I think, outside of actually the momentum oscillators on the weekly chart, and this is the weekly here, besides the fact that Cardano is in this bottoming out range of consolidation, similar to these previous bottoming out ranges, like the bear market low back here we've been talking about, besides that, if we look at this weekly chart zoomed out, check this out. And this is probably one of the most intriguing things on the chart itself, which is this. 2017 swing high, all-time high, $1.30s for Cardano, right? Look at that weekly candle when that happened, all the way back here, 2018. Look at this weekly wick on that candle, all the way back into, into a huge downtrend, into the bear market low. This area, we can take a horizontal line and just place it on the chart. This area, and we've talked about it before, but not so much in context of the swing high years and years ago. That area, that red line that we see here, it has been extremely impressive in terms of acting as this support area for Cardano. And we're talking all the way since last February, March. It's really impressive to see this. Cardano just continually testing and wicking on the weekly chart to this area. Look at that. In 2021, there are all those bounces. And then most recently, we have right now. This is where Cardano is. It is really a critical area, being we do have these targets to the downside. There's the broadening wedge targets, and this is what the broadening wedge looks like. There's an 80-cent target. Here's the 50-cent target to the downside. We have those targets, so it's a critical area, but Cardano still, even in this week, and we've talked about the importance of this week, 2 days, 8 hours now as I do this video until this weekly candle closes. But look at Cardano just seeing support at that general area on this macro chart. So you're pairing all of these things up. We know what's going on with crypto in general. We know what's going on in the financial markets. We know there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Rising interest rates potentially in play, coming in pretty near-term future. And we know the regulation aspect of what's going on with the administration and what they're saying. We know there's potential for even more downside. But just the same, things could flip, right? It might not end up being as bad as everybody thinks, and then all of a sudden, crypto's oversold, and it is ready to pump. Cardano, oversold, ready to pump. And on these historical charts, you can see the case is very, very much in play for that to happen. If you go to the daily charts, we know what Cardano has to do to really start putting in those technical confirmations, right? We have these moving averages. Cardano needs to get above those areas. 20-day moving average around $1.21, 50-day moving average around $1.27, 28. Cardano needs to get above there, see support above that area. Interestingly enough, both confluent with that lower trend line of the symmetrical triangle. If Cardano gets this pullback, maybe breaks above, maybe we start seeing Cardano see support above the moving averages, above that lower trend line. That's the case for Cardano to see this reversal. A little bit of hopium for you all out there as we continue to track and wait to see what Cardano does next, to see what crypto markets do next. If we go and we pivot to COTI, here's what's going on in COTI. Save the date. COTI's Treasury launch is set for February 1st, days away. We wish to remind you that depositing in the Treasury is only available using a Viper wallet and native COTI. Make sure you have both. When COTI becomes even more available to the US in terms of staking and Viper and all that good stuff, I think things are going to get even more bullish for COTI. But this alone is bullish for COTI, especially if you're going to look at the COTI charts. But keep in mind what this means for COTI. And remember, COTI, the issuer of JED, the Cardano stable algorithmic stablecoin, this COTI is a massive project. It's an extremely intriguing startup just in the general scope of crypto, but then the opportunity translates onto the charts. And the Treasury, the Treasury is going to grow. It's launching February 1st. It's going to grow. It's going to grow via the stablecoin factory. We've had Shahaf on the channel talking about that. And enterprise businesses and companies that may utilize and work with COTI. It's going to grow via Treasury services alone, different ecosystem partnerships, JED stablecoin, obviously, Trust Chain, everything going on in COTI right now is extremely early stage. So when we're looking at the charts, we have to keep these things in mind, right? Where this startup is in terms of its growth, and it's right at the beginning stage. Now take that and you pair it onto the charts, and here's where COTI is. And actually, before we dig into the charts, I do want to take a clip. This was a clip from January 6th, just weeks ago. Check this out real quick.
Please note, everybody, this could very easily be a fake out, right? And COTI could fail at those moving averages, and this could come back down very quickly. And there is a lot of room for the downside. So just please.
So this was just weeks ago, early January. This was the daily chart. What I was talking about, where's the daily? Here's the daily. What I was talking about is the potential fake outs for COTI. We were getting the 20-day moving average cross above the 50-day, that green line above the blue line. You can see that. We talked about potential for the fake out, right? And look at that. It played out. It played out, the fake out. Not only that, COTI visited that lower trendline area that we circled in that video. It's such a reliable area, and it could break. Just keep that in mind. It could break to the downside. This entire video is kind of the case for reversal. It's more of a bullish type of sentiment video. But this lower trend line for really the lifetime of COTI on these charts has been extremely consistent in terms of these swing lows. And if this is the daily chart, but if we go over here to the weekly chart, you can just see this, and then you can open up the momentum oscillators, and you can see COTI doing something very similar to what Cardano is doing. Just this general vicinity of this bottoming out range on the RSI. It's a slower moving momentum oscillator. It's more reliable than the quicker moving, right, oscillator, which is the stock RSI right here. So we have this bottoming out range right here in a very similar area on the RSI as it bottomed out on that lower trend line. And then even back here, bottomed out on that lower trend line. Now, keep in mind, just because it is bottoming out once, this COTI could very well consolidate along this trend line. You can see this happened back here in 2020, September 2020, October, November, kind of bottomed out before even getting a move to the upside. It even bottomed out again in December. So it was months of consolidation. We want to keep in mind, just because COTI is kind of seeing this bounce, it's a nice weekly candle, especially with the Treasury news happening. Just because that's happening right now doesn't mean this is it. Like that was the touch to the trend line. It's off to the races now. COTI could very well trade sideways. It could test it. It could break below it. We want to continue to monitor these weekly candles, where they close in terms of this trend line. And we will continue to monitor that. But to the upside, we have the swing high to this current swing low. If markets turn around, and if COTI if COTI gets this a nice bullish run because markets are cruising up back to the upside, Cardano's moving, Bitcoin's moving, cryptos are getting a bounce. if this bull market continues, right, and I know a lot of people are saying the bull market's over, if this bull market continues and COTI makes a break for it, getting back above this 50-week, getting back above the 20-week, this 1618 area, this higher high area, is an interesting area for me to watch on the charts. And right now that 1618, right around 90 cents, and I would say that 80 cent to 90 cent range would be my targets to the upside if we get this move, a really nice move for COTI before some consolidation takes place, right? So 80 to 90 cents. We saw a very similar thing happen this last swing high, and this was March 2021, to this swing low, July 2021. COTI made a run for it just below the 1618 line, around 74 cents, right? That run to the 60 cent area. So similar type of thing in play. Higher high area for COTI, 80 cents to 90 cent range, higher high area for COTI. That's what I'm watching. Continue to monitor if we see support at this lower trend line. It's a higher high it's a higher low on the macro, which is nice to see. And it would be nice to see if this consistency plays out and continues. This is what I'm tracking on Cardano and COTI. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I appreciate you for cruising by. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.